Michelle, and today I've got for you a Mat Pilates workout using a yoga ball. So it's going to be about a beginning to intermediate level. We're going to work a lot on the front of our body, our abdominals, and a lot on the back of the body, our spine, our hip extensors, all that good stuff. Okay, so you just need a mat and a large yoga ball, something like this. And let's just get right into it. Okay, so to get warmed up, I want you to just take a comfortable seat on top of your ball. The wider your feet are, the more able you'll be able to balance. Yes, so kind of find where that is for you. So start about hip width apart. Have your arms hanging heavy. Take an inhale. As you breathe out, nod your chin, roll over your legs, let your arms hang heavy to the floor, and just take a nice forward fold. And then as you inhale, just restack your spine from bottom to top. Good. Let's do that a few more times. So see if you can keep the ball pretty well still underneath you. So the lower body is stabilizing as the upper body goes into this nice stretch. Yeah? Now this time, as you fold forward, let's hold here and take an extra breath into the backs and the sides of your rib cage. And then breathe out and feel your abdominals connect. Let's do that one more time. Breathing in, you're welcome to place your hands on your thighs if that's more comfortable. Now as you exhale, restack and come up tall. Good. Let's do that one more time. Think of drawing your abs away from your thighs so you get this nice C shape through your spine. Hold here and take our 2 breaths in and out. Let go of any tension stuck up in your neck or your shoulders. Now after your last breath, bring yourself all the way back up tall. Very nice. Okay, continuing our warm-up, let's go into a little side bend. So place one hand on the ball, reach the other arm out to the side. You're going to get up tall as you breathe in. Now exhale and just flex over to one side, pressing into the hand that's on the ball, and then bring yourself back up. Good, and then we'll do that again. So again, trying not to let the ball move under you, so that takes a little bit more effort to stay stable. Yeah, our abs have to work a little more. Our legs have to be really grounded into the floor. Very good. See if with each one you can find a little bit of a deeper stretch. Now on this next one, hold here and stay. Now from this side bend, we're going to flex and rotate. So I'm going to pull my abs back almost like my armpit is trying to look at the opposite knee and then open back front. Do that 2 more times, pushing into the hand that's on the ball to help me twist and then return. Good. Do that one more time, rounding the spine and twisting over that far leg. Find your side bend and then come all the way up. Very good. Other side. Reach the arm out. Inhale and get tall. Start with just those pure side bends. Up and over and then lift. Good. So you're shortening the bottom side and really opening and stretching through the top side. Very nice. All right, now in your next side bend, get there and stay, round and rotate over that knee, and then open back front. Good, do that 2 more times. So I'm really using my hand on the ball to put pressure and help me rotate a little deeper. Good, now find your side bend and then come all the way back up to straight. Very good. All right, now arms reach out to the sides. Take a breath in. You're going to exhale and just rotate to one side. Your back arm can kind of come across your midline and then face back front. Good. Just find your range. See how you can go, how far you can go in these 2 directions. Yeah, and again, if the ball is moving under you, really plant your feet. Keep it stable. Okay, now to add even more challenge, we're going to add 3 small pulses. So as I go to one side, each little pulse takes me deeper and deeper into that twist, and then return to the front. Other side, exhale. And then return. Good. Make sure the thighs and the knees aren't traveling around. Very good. Let's try that again. Now, if you want to add a little bit of challenge here, instead of hip width apart, bring your feet together, squeeze your inner thighs, and continue. So now we have a smaller base of support. Whew, way harder. So the lower body has to be a lot more involved. Very nice. Okay, let's continue with this, and you just stick with whatever variation is working for you. You could also lift your heels up so you're just on your toes. Ooh, that's even harder. Yes, so with the less contact we have with the floor, the more challenging this is. Good. Few more times. Now you could even try to lift one leg up. Oh my goodness. If that's too hard, try going back to hip width apart and then floating one foot off the floor. Yeah, let's do one more time to either side. So I've got my heel down on my bottom foot. You could absolutely do it on your toes. That would be really tricky. Twist, 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 and then face front and relax your arms all the way down. Very good, you guys. Okay, hopefully we're feeling a little warmed up now. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me a little bit better. So in this same sitting position, you're going to rest your hands on your thighs, and then you want to start with your feet slightly further away from the ball. So my spine is still stacked, but my heels are out from underneath my knees. Okay, so here we go. We're going to breathe out and just roll to an imprint. So I'm going to take the ball and send it closer to my feet, and then I'm going to return to neutral. Yes, so abdominals get nice and short. My low back finds the ball, and then we come back up tall. Good. So if the ball is bumping into your heels, it just means that your feet aren't walked out quite far enough. So it should feel really good to stretch out that lower back and get that lumbopelvic area moving. Okay, now if you're doing pretty well, maybe take your hands off of your thighs. So now again, we have a little bit more of that instability, especially kind of side to side in the hips. Yes, the hands can go back on your legs at any point if needed. Okay, now starting to add on, roll back into that half roll back position and stay. Drop one arm down and back like you're sweeping along the side of the ball, and then return it to reach front and then stack up. Do that again. Exhale to roll, inhale, sweep and reach. Watch it as it goes behind you. Return and then stack up. Very good. Few more times. 1, sweep and look. 2, 3, and then up 4. Good. If it's too challenging, make your initial roll back a little bit more shallow. Good. All right. Now, instead of breaking it up, we're going to do it all together. So as I'm rolling, my arm is sweeping, one breath, and then I inhale and come back. Exhale. And then inhale. So good. You don't have to be too strict about it. Should feel good to get this nice fluid movement in these two directions. Let's go one more time to either side. And then come up and place your hands down on your legs. Very nice, you guys. Okay, so now we're going to start going down onto our backs on the ball, okay? So hands on the sides of the ball to keep it stable. Now go very slowly. You're going to start with that kind of tucking action we just practiced in the pelvis, except we're going to start taking little baby steps away from the ball. Use your hands. Now go all the way until your upper back can stretch over the ball. Okay, so wherever that is for you, you're kind of looking straight up at the ceiling. Okay, so my hands are supporting my head. Start with your upper back in a long line, and then we're going to go into a little extension. So stretch and wrap your upper spine around the ball, and then just come back to a neutral and do that again. So I'm not crunching or coming up beyond that long line. Good. Now you'll feel your abs working even though we're not coming into a full flexion. Yeah, so really giving that extension some good attention. That rhymed. Okay, now keep going. You can adjust how far over the ball you are to your own comfort level, okay? Now pause in that neutral place. Now we're going to start exploring that flexion forward and then go just to neutral. Yeah, so we're finding the two halves of this range of motion first, and then we'll combine it together in a moment. Yes, you want to feel like your neck is really stiff. Yeah, that doesn't sound very good, but we don't want our neck to be super mobile. Yeah, it stays strong, and it's more about our upper back doing the moving. Okay, so now curl up and hold, go into the full range. So now as I breathe in, I stretch all the way back. Maybe your fingers and head touch the ball, and then curl fully back off. Good. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, round. Good. Now, the ribs have to open a little bit to allow the spine to extend, but hopefully they're not flaring open so much that our abs disconnect. So keep a little drawing down, activation through there. Last two, and last one. Okay, stretch all the way back and hold. Okay, now we're going to add some rotation to this. So start stretched back. We'll go in that full range place. But now when I flex up, I'm going to go off to one side. So I'm angled towards one thigh, and then I lay back. Yeah, the wider apart your feet are, the easier this is to keep the ball still. Yes, so you could totally challenge yourself and put your feet and your knees together and use your inner thighs. That is super difficult. Yeah, so that's a good way to increase the challenge. Very good. Let's go one more time to either side. Get that back shoulder blade off the ball and then stretch all the way back. Whew. All right, one last thing here, and then we'll come back up to seated and take a little break from this position. So now we're going to go around the world. So pick a direction, and we'll go that way for a few sets. So curl up to one side. You're going to pass high through that center flexion, and then go around to stretch back. So same direction. Take a look at your legs as you come around. Make sure they're not moving off of center. Whew, so good. Let's do this two more times. So neck is strong, upper back is super fluid and mobile. Okay, now stretch back and pause in the middle, and we'll reverse it. Exhale on the top of the circle, inhale on the stretch back. Good. Allow those shoulder blades to widen and come up and forward to get that nice full flexion. Last two. And then last one. And then stretch back. Whew. Okay, start to walk your feet back. Nod your chin, place your hands on the ball, and assist yourself to come back up to sitting. Whew. Nice. My upper back feels much better now. I hope yours does too. Okay, so this is our little break. Sitting. Now we're going to go back down, walking along the ball, but we're going to end up in a slightly different position. So grab on. You're going to walk yourself down. Okay, now this time I want you to go a little bit further than we did last time so that your upper shoulders and head are on the ball and your hips and your tail are hanging off. So your tailbone might be almost touching the floor, not quite. Okay, feet as wide as is comfortable. So now it's our lower back that's getting more of the stretch. Well, our full spine, but moving is going to be our lower back. So take a breath in here. Now we're going to tuck under. I'm still supporting my head. Roll through your tail and come up into a hip extension. And then we're going to reverse that, soften through your mid-back, and then trail through until your tail wraps around the ball. Good. Do that again. So really taking the time to find this articulation, and you have the feedback from the ball, which is nice. You can actually feel each individual vertebrae touching the ball and then leaving the ball. So it's a nice way to kind of solidify that articulation and feel it in the body. So good. Let's do that a couple more times. Lifting high, elbows. You should be able to see in the corners of your view, so don't have them splayed too wide. All right, now pause at the height of your bridge. Head is resting on the ball. Now keep your lifted hips and just march one heel up and then replace it down. Other side. So without letting the ball roll underneath you. This is tricky, tricky stuff. Good. Keep that height of the hips and the open thighs. Good. Almost pretend like you're squeezing a smaller ball between your knees so they're not splayed out into external rotation. Good. Now start to go a little faster. So moving reciprocally when one heel drops, the other lifts. Good. Hips stay high. 3, 2. Now end up with both heels lifted. Drop both heels together and lift together. Having both heels up at once. Much harder on our balance. Lower and lift. Good. This is a long set. I know we're almost done. Now, when your heels drop, you're going to lower your hips. When your heels lift, they come back up. So how big of a hip drop is up to you. You can keep it small, so it's almost like little pulses, or you can go into that full range, wrapping and lifting, or somewhere in between. Yes, good. Let's do 3 more. Drop, lift, 2, 1. Heels down, nod your chin, grab the ball, and then roll up to sitting. Awesome. Okay, last thing here before we switch our setup, walk down for our last time. We should be familiar with this now. So this time we're going to walk the furthest we have yet so far that our sitting bones find the floor. Okay, so now we're going to do some leg presses, some back extension, and some arm circles all combined together, and it's going to feel just delightful. Okay, so your head should be able to comfortably be supported on the ball the whole time. Okay, you modify as needed. Maybe if the size of your ball is different, it might feel different for you. Okay, so my back is going to stay curved around the ball the whole time. Now, reach your arms forward. Leave your head attached to the ball, and you're going to start to push with your legs. Once your legs are straight, arms are reaching fully back overhead. Now, as I bend my knees, I circle my arms out and around to come back down. Whew, do that again. So this feels so good on the chest, the pecs, the shoulders. You can let your hands hang as close to the floor as feels good to you. Yeah, let's do that a few more times. So taking this nice and slow. And then return. Good. Keeping as much contact with your whole spine on the ball as you can. All right, let's do that one more time. Press up and back. And then down. All right, now let's reverse the circle of the arms. Inhale, reach around and back. Exhale, cut through the center. Inhale and exhale. Yeah, feel a nice connection with your feet to the floor, almost like your arch is kind of suction cupping down, because that's really our only true attachment to the ground. Whew, 2 more times. It's almost like an assisted back bend, kind of, when we get to that end range, and then come all the way down. Whew. All right, set your hips down, come off the ball, and just stretch forward over your legs here for a second. Kind of hang your head between your knees. Oh, kind of let the blood settle from all that backward movement. Awesome, you guys. Okay, come on up. Whew. Next, we are going to lay on the ground and have our feet up on the ball. So a little different orientation. All right. So lay on your back. You're going to get pretty close to the ball. You judge how close. And then you're going to have one foot resting on top of the ball to start with. Okay. So the ball is pretty close to the shin of the foot that's on the floor, about as close as you can comfortably get. Okay. So wrap your foot around the ball. Arms are going to come down by your side. So again, that suction cup kind of feeling to grip onto the ball. All right, so now we're nice and neutral through here. All we're going to do is roll the ball forward, and your toes will probably have to come off the ball. And then as you roll it back, re-grip your foot onto it. Yeah, do that again. Roll it out, and then roll it in. Good. Now, the harder you press down into the ball, the more you're going to feel the back of the leg working. So that glute and hamstring. Good. Now, trying not to change your alignment anywhere else. Just a pure lengthening and bending of that leg. Okay, do that one more time. Now, roll the ball in. So my whole foot is on it. And now we're going to do a hip roll. So tuck your tail under. Don't let the ball go away as you lift your hips up. Try to push down into both heels and then reverse that. Come down through imprint to neutral. Do that again. So the challenge here is to stabilize and press into the ball so that it doesn't roll out from underneath us. And then lower back down. So good. Let's do that a couple more times. Now we've got 2 legs, so use them both. Push into the floor. The bottom foot can be a helper as well. And then lower down and through. So good. All right, last time. Now this time I want you to hold at the top, ribs down, press into the arms. Now leave your pelvis where it is and do 3 little hamstring curls, rolling the ball out and in, directly in line with the hip. Pause with the knee bent, lift a little higher, and then roll through the spine and down. Let's do that again. So we stabilize the ball on the way up. We let it flow forward and back 3 times. Get as big of a range as you can. Pause with the bent knee, lift higher, and then roll through. So good. Okay, now we're going to kind of put all these movements together. So with your hips down, start with the legs straight, okay? So now you don't have to articulate the spine, just leave it neutral and it'll be more of a hip hinge, okay? So push down with your heel, try not to lock out the knee. Now we're just going to hinge the hips and lift. Let's try that a couple times and come back down. So just leave the legs straight, drive into that glute of the leg that's on the floor. Lift and then lower. Good. So a little different sensation, different than the articulation, right? So now pause at the bottom. By the time we get to the top, our knee is going to be bent. We roll the ball in, touch down and roll the ball out. So time it together. Pull and lift, reach and lower. Both hip bones moving together. Let's do 3 more and touch. 2, 1, and then come down and relax. Whew. So good. Okay, next, leave the legs straight on the ball. Your foot can be flexed. Take your hands behind your head. Okay, now keep some pressure down into that ball. As you exhale, we're just going to do a little ab prep. So we're going to curl our spine up and forward, and then inhale to lower. So you get a good view of what's going on with your legs. Make sure the ball isn't moving. And then lower. So good. We'll just do a couple of these. I want you to get the feeling of keeping the pressure down with the leg, leaving the pelvis stable, and then moving the upper back. Good. Now curl up and stay. Reach the arms forward and take a set of hundreds here. Good. Breathing in for 5 counts. Breathing out for 5 counts. Good. Now try not to have the ball be bouncing with you. One hand behind the head or head on the mat if you need to modify for your neck. Okay, the next thing we can add in is rolling the ball in when we inhale, roll the ball out when we exhale with as much pressure down into the ball as we can. So we feel that hamstring. Good, let's do this a few more times. If you'd like, you could try to take your free foot up to tabletop, or you could even hold it out straight on the diagonal. Let's do one more time, shoulder blades forward, and then go ahead and rest all the way down. Whew, amazing. All right, so last thing on this side, and then we're gonna switch legs. We're gonna do a little single leg circle, okay, which feels really nice on the hips. Ball adds the instability challenge. So arms are down. Reach your free leg up to the ceiling. If that's uncomfortable, bend the knee. Now, you're gonna keep the ball still. That's the trick. You're gonna drop your leg across that center line, circle it around to come back up. So this is your biggest circle that you can create with that leg. So it's where the femur meets the hip. That's where the circle's happening. Now press down with the bottom leg. That ball wants to make your leg wobble all over. Now your pelvis, your ribs, your shoulders, everything stays nice and still as much as possible. Now let's go the other way. If this is feeling like, oh, pretty easy, how about bend your elbows? You have robot arms. That's a little more challenging. Really challenging would be reaching both arms up. Oh, super hard. And then you could also reach them behind you. Last one. And then come on down. Awesome. All right, let's switch feet. So roll the ball to the other foot. Start with it close to you and then new foot on the floor. Yes? All right, so we're going to start just by rolling the ball out and in to kind of reorient ourselves on this new side. Okay, so we're pushing down, feeling the back of that hip. Good, let's do that 2 more times. Ribs are heavy and pelvis isn't tilting with that leg action. All right, now get your whole foot on the ball, push down, tuck under, and articulate the spine to lift, and then reverse the action to lower. Yes, with as little movement on the ball as possible. Yeah, doesn't have to be perfect. The ball is bouncy, so it's gonna move, but just having the intention of stability is gonna go a long way. So good. Okay, let's do that 2 more times, and then we're going to add on those little hamstring curls at the top, 3 of them. So roll up and stay. Hips stay the same. Ball rolls forward and back. Pelvis stays high. Glutes are on. After the third one, push into the ball to lift higher, and then soften down. Good. Let's do that 1 more time. Scoop and roll. Arms press hard. 3 reaches out and in. 2. Last 1. Come in, lift even higher, and then roll yourself on down. Phew. All right, now with a straight leg, no more articulating, just hip lifting. Okay, here we go. Pressing down. Now, it's a little trickier to do this with a straight leg, right? So that hamstring is more lengthened, and then we're loading it up. So it feels a little different. Have a micro bend in the back of the knee, so we're not hyperextended. All right, now when the hips are up, we roll the ball in and then out and down. Lift and pull and lower. Lift and lower. Thighs tracking parallel. So good. Last 2. Whew. Last 1. And then relax. Oh, amazing. All right, next, done with our bridging action. Now we push down with that same straight leg. Check we've got our little low back curve. Flex up and forward. And then release. So supporting that neck while we just get the movement of our upper back going. Good. Now we're still active, pushing into the ball. All right, now curl up, stay, reach 1 or both hands, and then we pump. Breathe in for 5, out for 5. Good. In through the nose, out through the mouth is a great way if that feels good to you. All right, next we start to roll the ball in on the inhale. That's easy to remember. Out on the exhale. In, 2, 3, 4, 5 with lots of pressure. Down with the heel. Okay, for the last few sets, if you want to challenge yourself, take that free leg to tabletop or even reach it long over the ball. Last 2 times. Last 1. Whew, and then lower yourself down. Oh, awesome. All right, finish up here with a little single leg circle. Flex the foot, reach your free leg. You can pick from the start if you want to go with one of those alternative arm positions. Okay, start crossing the midline and then circling out and around. That is super challenging to circle one hip and not the other that's on top of this wiggly ball. Yes, this should feel good. We want to get a good kind of freedom of movement in the hip while staying strong through our core. Good. Now let's reverse and go the other way. And the circle is just as big as you can get it with all those things present that we talked about. So good. Last 2. Last 1. Oh, amazing. All right. Come on up. So our last little area that we're going to work on is the back of our body, our spine in particular. Okay, so we're going to lay prone on the ball. Okay, so get your hips right up on top of it. Your hands are going to be on the mat in front, and the feet will be down on the other side of the ball. Okay, the wider the feet, the easier the balancing is going to be. So from here, I want you to feel like you're really driving the balls of your feet and your palms into the ground. So we're not just hanging on our stomachs, relying on the ball to hold us up. We are actively pushing and making that pressure lighter on the front of our bellies, okay? So from here, my shoulder blades are spread nice and wide. I'm going to go into some alternating single arm reaches. Yeah, I just want you to kind of test out your balance. See how we're doing here with as little shifting side to side in the lower body as possible. So the glutes are engaged even though the hips aren't fully extended. If you're having trouble, step your feet even wider apart. Okay, now keep the hands down and let's try some single leg lifts. Float and down. Good, so the leg coming up shouldn't change the shape of the spine. Okay, it's not a back extension, it's a hip extension. All right, next layer is opposite arm, opposite leg. Whew, so much harder. So again, if you're struggling, wider feet, whew, lift and lower and take your time. Hurrying through this is not going to be helpful. Whew, push hard with the hands. If you're relying too much on the ball, it's going to be a lot harder. If you're using mostly your arms and your legs, you're going to be set up much better. Whew, last one. Lift and then come on down. Whew, amazing. Okay, next, take one hand to your forehead. Either one, back of your hand to the forehead. All right, so now keep your hip bones glued to the ball. I'm going to push hard into the floor and rotate away. So I'm looking towards the ceiling, but this hip is trying to drive forward, and then I return. So the ball isn't rolling out from underneath me. I'm twisting over top of the ball. Twist and then return. So good. A few more times. Protracting that bottom shoulder blade, pushing it away from the spine. It's going to be a huge help. Whew. Last one. Press and then set both hands down. Okay, let's do the other side. New hand on. Open. Shift that top shoulder out of the way and then return. Good. The ball might move a little bit, but try to keep it as still as we can. Twist and then down. So that's a lot of activity for the bottom shoulder. One more time. Twist, super strong through the legs. Okay, place the hands down. You can kind of hang your head over for a second. Okay, last thing here, we're going to make this into more of a stretch and we're going to let the ball move. So float one hand. I'm going to turn and roll the ball under me. My top hip comes off. I open and let my arm go all the way back. So I stretch out the chest and then I come back down and we'll do that same arm again. Rotate. So I pick my heels up. I turn my feet. My heels can even get to the ground if that feels good. And then roll, heels point to the ceiling. Good, few more times. So the ball is moving. Whew, much bigger position. It's almost like a side bend type of deal that we end up in. Yeah, one last time. Roll the bottom hip forward and then down. Okay, other side. Roll the ball under the side of the pelvis. Top arm opens and then down. Yeah, this is one where we don't want to overthink it too much. Woo, just get into the biggest, stretchiest position that we can. Open and then close. Last time, open and then close. Whew. All right, bend your knees, sit back on your heels and just roll the ball out in front of you. Good, take a little spine and shoulder stretch. Good, if it feels good, you can take one hand off the ball, reach it underneath, kind of in a thread the needle to give that one side a little bigger stretch. And then same thing on the other side. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed that Mat Pilates workout using the yoga ball. If you did, please give it a thumbs up below. Leave me a comment if you have any feedback or ideas for future videos. Please share this video with a friend and definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time. Bye.